The Bluesford brothers are back. We're talking Broncos minicamp. Then we're talking about our top 5 rookies. I'm giving it to Ryan, my list, and he's saying if there's any that I missed. Most fun rookie seasons in Colorado sports history during my 36 years of life.
Plus, what does Kristaps think of Putin?
We won't be talking about that. Dan, play that funky music. All right, we are here. It's the last night the Denver Nuggets were NBA champions. But it's a beautiful Monday night. We are going to go through the Broncos minicamp. And we're talking exciting rookies. The most exciting rookies in our lifetime in Denver sports in honor of Bo Nix. I'm excited for the show.
In honor?
Well, in honor of the discourse. In honor of the discourse. The man you heard, incredulous, as always, to my left, but now right to my left, not through a screen. My brother, Ryan. Ryan, how are you doing, buddy?
We're doing great. Headed to the land of our enemy, Naz Reid, tomorrow. But other than that, it should be a good trip. I don't actually hold any ill will towards the Timberwolves.
I'll tell you who does. Adam Silver.
Why is that?
He's like, we could have had Luka and Jokic, and then Jokic could have beaten them, and then we could have actually had more than one competitive NBA Finals game.
Yeah.
He said, hey, Anthony, can you tell me if you're going to poop your pants in the next round? If you're going to take out a marketable star? Thank you.
It was tough for me. But no, I'm doing well.
Great.
I have been consuming a lot of Broncos content.
I was going to bring it up. We have been warp speed, and I think we're both on the same page. Tell me how you went into it. I see
with
obviously
hate.
The discourse.
I went into it with hate in my heart.
I didn't. I tried. I said to myself, I was like, okay, don't be married to our takes, right? Like, it's annoying when personalities get married to a take. Looking at you, Nick, right? And so you just keep saying a negative thing because you've said it in the past, right? And you don't accept reality. So I was like, you know what? Maybe Dan's right. Maybe I just need to go in and why not be excited, right? Like, let's get excited. And then I see what we're trying to get excited about. I'm like, I'm not getting excited yet. I'm not any less excited, to be clear, but I'm not anymore.
Why not?
Because, it's not like I've seen him be bad against live defenses.
Hold on, okay.
He looks fine throwing against no defensive linemen, 2 uncovered wide receivers. I thought that looked fine, but I'm not excited about it. But I'm not going to hold it against him that he hit Cortland Sutton in the hands unguarded. That's the drill.
Yeah.
Right?
But I guess to make it really a pointed question, I listened to a lot of things as we referenced. I was in the takes. I was listening to a lot of people make a lot of takes. And it seems like the consensus in the Broncos podcast community is that he should be our starter week 1. And I am here to tell you that might be the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. The amount of rookie quarterbacks who succeed when they're just thrown to the wolves in their first season with an offensive line that is terrible, the list is 0. There are no successful quarterbacks like that. You literally have to develop. So and everybody agrees that Stidham has looked better in minicamp. Everybody's like, actually, who looks pretty good is Garrett Stidham. So start him. What are we talking about? Start the guy who has actual NFL experience. Let him get destroyed by the offensive line in the first 6 weeks. He's going to get hurt. This offensive line is terrible. There's no way that anybody's going to stay healthy. And then we can naturally go into the Bo Nix era, which will also be bad.
Yeah. I haven't picked up, every year I pick up the Warren Sharp. Longtime listeners of the pod know that I love a Warren Sharp as an NFL analyst.
I thought you were going to say Warren Sharp is a longtime listener of the pod, which is also true.
Right, of course. I haven't picked up his book yet, but he always finds, like these stats that when he says them, you're like, of course that makes sense, but I wouldn't have thought to like delve into that.
He's the David Foster Wallace of NFL stats.
If I had to guess the statistics for starting a rookie quarterback with a first-year starting center, I would predict they're not good. Because that means the other guy doesn't know when the blitz is coming, and the guy who's supposed to be audibling to tell him the blitz is coming also doesn't know the blitz is coming. I feel like an underrated part of a rookie quarterback would have been having Cushenberry and being like, hey, he knows the room, he knows the offense, he knows the things. Maybe we'll say, hey, we're going to pay you a little bit more than we think you're worth because we're going to put a little extra on you protection-wise. But I agree with you, Ryan. Nothing I've seen.
How do you feel about the smoke?
Get him murdered.
How do you feel about the smoke being blown up your ass, though? Like, it's not just that they're coming out there and saying, like, hey, it's gonna be a jerk. Like, every rookie is there's a development process that happens. They're not tempering expectations. Nobody's like, oh, he's looked okay. Sean Payton is out there showing his ass for the guy. Like, hey, I see a lot of comparisons between him and Drew. Like, what are you talking about?
You know who else hit guys right in the hands when there were no defenders and no defensive linemen right over the middle? Drew Brees. And you know what Bo did today? The same thing. All right? So thus far, I would say they look similar.
And I don't think I pray that Sean Payton has the balls enough to start Stidham, because that contract should give you that freedom.
I was going to say after the draft too.
To protect the guy that you are, right. You have to protect this. Like, if you are actually going to drink the Kool-Aid that Bo Nix is good, you should be rooting for Stidham to be the starter week one. Mm-hmm. Because I think
that's a key point. It's not even that you don't believe in Bo Nix. It's if you do believe in Bo Nix, you want him on the Jordan Love train
100%.
Rather than the IC Ghost Sam Darnold train, right? Like,
we've got one Q3.
That's how you see
QB3 is IC Ghost. You want him to turn out Zach Wilson? You throw him out there week one.
Zach Wilson, Ryan did not mean that way. You leave our mom alone. All right, this is absolutely out of control.
She's single, and
don't tell Zach Wilson that's catnip for him.
And could, if you wanted to contribute to a house, she would appreciate it. You've got the money.
Yeah, come on. She's
a
like
nice
Happy
lady.
Gilmore's mom is what she is. She's a very kind lady. Yeah. So I think that's a good distinction that Bo Nix is. Bo Nix, even if you're rooting for him, you shouldn't want him to start.
But do you think Broncos fans are going to accept that?
So here I have.
Is anybody smart in this town?
Okay. I kind of think Broncos media is kind of how Lakers media is.
Oh.
They're so used to winning, right? Like, think about, even people older than us, you could have been, you could be in your 40s and you were 13 in your prime formative years when John Elway helicoptered. And we've basically been competitive since then, right? Like, there have been a down year here and there. Never like this, prolonged incompetence, right? Under Bolin since that day, right? You could never say, I'm not sure we have a good plan.
It's almost like there were signs.
Yeah. There might be injuries, there might be things, right? But it wasn't, prolonged incompetence. So I think it's like the Lakers media talks themselves into last summer. You know what, guys? We played the closest sweep in NBA history. Yeah. And you know who we got? Gabe Vincent, who the smartest team in the NBA, who constantly finds value, said,
Hasta luego, Gabe.
Also, you're going to have to go through the Nuggets, and you just watched the Nuggets abuse him in every cross matchup. I think that's Broncos media and how it operates. They always view themselves as we are a successful franchise. And you have to come to terms with the fact that we are not that anymore. And it doesn't bring me any joy to say that, but, well, and that's my point. When it's prolonged,
they haven't
someone
earned
can miss
that,
on a draft
Kyle.
pick.
Like, honestly, though, even the success that we've had was based on the fact that we got Peyton Manning to choose us. Like, that was
a competent
not
choice.
That was that nobody was looking at that like, oh, what a groundbreaking decision. The best thing we did after that, like the second best decision the franchise has made, is draft Von Miller after he got caught smoking that bong. Right. And we were like, you'll fit right in, dude. Don't worry about it. Come on down.
But I also thought we kind of
certain
for sure. But I'm not giving Peyton anything.
He literally earned this job because we thought that we were going to get Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Everybody is here. Everybody is here because we thought we were going to get Aaron Rodgers. Yep. The Waltons are here because of that. The coach is here because, well, not this coach. Right. The previous coach was here because of that. Right. Russell Wilson was here because of that. Everything is a ripple effect from that decision. And
well, but so what I'm saying is under Bolin, I think John Elway was empowered to be, and some of it was Peyton Manning was really good at recruiting as well. So I don't want to not give him some credit as well. But Elway was crazy aggressive. Like, he was out there and he was like, F them picks before the Rams were F them picks, right? He was like, hey, I'll take Talib. I don't think we're going to find a third rounder that's as good as him. You can have it. Like, hey, we're going to do this, so I do think that we were a competently run organization beyond, like, they made some smart building around Peyton decisions that showed when Peyton's arm left his body, and that's when we won the Super Bowl, right?
Well, the defense was elite.
Yeah.
But
which was a John Elway build around after the Super Bowl, which is how competent organizations work. They see a weakness, and they say, hey, we can fix this.
But there were 5 weaknesses. There were 5 weaknesses then. There are 12 now. Yeah. The whole roster is a weakness. There isn't a strong part. So there's no foundation to build upon.
CB1.
And that's why, like, if Peyton really wanted to save his job, if he's worried about his job security at all, he will sit Knicks. He will call Sean Payton and be like, you're not starting him. Because you want to just delay. Like, if you're not sure that he's good, if you're not positive that you're going to be proven right, you have to just say, let's see him in week 8. Let's give him 8 more weeks. George is thinking
about his next GM job, but
because
when Sean drafted Bo Nix,
that's what I was going to say. I mean, this guy was castrated from the beginning. Yeah. Like, he hasn't had anything. He's been a John Elway figurehead up there since Sean Payton got hired. So
the biggest mistake he's made is not letting Sean Payton just tell him what to say. Like, because his opinion comes out sometimes, and then you're like, wait, that's not what we did at all. Aren't you supposed to be in charge of that? How come we didn't do what you said you wanted to do?
You're the general manager,
right? Cortland Sutton, he did report to minicamp. He said he felt like he'd proved his point, that he was disgruntled. I don't know that's how that works. If you're like, hey, man, you know how we get Christmas week off? I'm not coming in. And then you come in the first day after Christmas vacation. You're like,
show them.
Yeah. It was like, hey, man, you're going to start getting fined if you don't go to these. Oh, I'll show up.
Well, don't worry about it then.
Yeah, that just means you didn't go to optional work days. That's not impressive. I don't think that they were blown away by his
and if I'm being honest,
tactics.
If I'm being honest, as a person who was sometimes the best runner on their high school team, a lot of those optional practices, I did not show up. I was gonna go for my run, but I'm not. I mean, come on.
No
What
need
am I
to see
gonna-
everyone.
what- yeah, I mean,
If I was Cortland Sutton looking at that wide receiver room, I'd be like, I'm going to learn what?
and that's kind of how I felt in high school. I'm gonna show up, and you guys are gonna be like, I'm gonna go for 20 minutes.
Yeah, and at a 12-minute pace. That's our wide receiver room.
Well, I think
it
they're
is
getting
bad.
bossed on the way to that run. I don't even know if they're making it to practice.
Yeah, it's which is also something people forget that we
Who's the quarterback going to throw to? Who are they going to? Tim Patrick? I heard good things about him.
Straight knee injuries. I would say the science does not speak highly of that.
Hey man, as a person recovering from a knee injury myself, getting back into a little bit of shape here. I don't want to brag or anything, but
I prefer you didn't. Dads, we're not doing that. All right, get out of here.
Off of just one knee injury, I think Tim can come back. I believe in Tim.
Okay, I want to believe in Tim. I love Tim. Like he was making so many BS catches.
Can we also? He was
healthy?
Do you want to re-sign Cortland Sutton? If we're being honest, like,
I mean, I think it depends on what it looks like.
What do you mean? We're gonna overpay him?
Paying him like a true top 10 wide receiver in the NFL because
you're gonna have to. That's what the whole.
Why?
Okay.
Feels like there's 3 in the top 10 every year in the draft.
That's what
I think that market is too deep. I think it's like point guards. You could be a really good point guard in the NBA, but there's a lot of them who you're like, you're not quite good enough to start, but I would love having you on my team off the bench.
I think
there's a lot of those to go around.
I think it's the best point. And I hope it's what they're telling him. Like, it's honestly the first time that I've ever felt any little bit of faith in the front office that they're not just like bending over and taking whatever Cortland Sutton is going to demand from them. Like, I love Cortland Sutton. Like, I'm not opposed to re-signing Cortland Sutton, but you have to be willing to just be like, I don't actually think you're worth that, so I'm not going to pay you that.
Right. No, this is a guy who's it's an unfortunate part of football where I don't feel like you get to accept that the quarterback position, like you don't get to build the same relationship as you do in like baseball or a basketball where the careers are a little longer. Like it's the reality that like after a second contract, you probably don't want them back if you're smart.
But he's also
like that's any position, sadly.
Yeah.
Maybe tackles and defensive ends, maybe.
But he's also like still good enough to go be competitive. But he only has probably 3 of those years left, and we're gonna suck for 3 years.
Yep.
Like, so let him go. Like I kind of feel the same way as I felt with Von Miller. Like I loved our time here. We're gonna suck. Like I understand if we overpaid him, but it doesn't seem like we're gonna do that. So like, go get fair market value on a team that's actually good. Go sign with the Bills. Like,
I don't hate the Broncos bringing it back until the trade deadline, because I think what you said. I think reality is going to come hit, and then I think there might. be
why do you need the trade deadline?
All you need is one team that's desperate. You can get whatever the market is right now. You can get that at the trade deadline.
Can you sign
100%.
him and then trade him?
But
can you
say
sign
that
and trade?
The Rams are all of a sudden like, oh, dang, we think we can actually beat the 49ers. We think we can go. F them picks. We'll give you a second rounder for Cortland Sutton.
Can you sign and trade?
Yeah, I think everything in the... Because I think franchise tag people, I think you can trade them. It's just the team knows, like, we have to negotiate with him. But in the NFL, so often those trade deadline things are, we're trying to win a title this year. And it's better if you can't re-sign with us.
Yeah.
Because if we do win the title, we're going to have a lot of guys wanting money. So it's going to be great that we don't have to give you any.
Yeah.
Come win this Super Bowl, dog.
Which I would love for Sutton.
Yes. Only other thing, it feels like the pecking order of our team goes Sean Payton, Pat Surtain now. It feels like every other story I've seen has been about like Pat Surtain. Like Pat Surtain, said nice things about Bo Nix. Then there was Pat Surtain talking about him not being listed as the like number 1 overall corner. And both questions he's handled perfectly. Like he's a true pro
he's
of like
Champ
he's
Bailey.
like
He is truly
I
Champ
didn't have
Bailey.
the season I wanted to have last year. He's like, I want to, be setting records. I want to be doing all these things. So do I have that belief? Yes. Am I mad about it? No, I need to go out and make the plays. I need to be a part of team success. And then Bo Nix, he gave a BS quote. Like
As
when Talib was talking about
I don't have a lot, but I have some Pat Surtain rookie cards that are pretty nice. And I'm very excited about his career trajectory because he's saying all the right things. He is actually phenomenal to watch. Like, he truly jumps off the screen when you really can just actually see like a little bit of the all 22 on the broadcast.
Or even when they'll show him against Devontae. And you're just like, God. I mean, both those guys are freaks. Like you're both so big, and you shouldn't be able to move
the way
like
that
how
he
you
moves.
two are.
The way that he moves in reaction to another human being is baffling.
Yeah.
Like it is like it's Champ Bailey. That's the only person that I can. I mean, we got lucky to watch Champ Bailey play for the Broncos for all those years, but it's the only person that I think is even remotely close to watching Surtain move. Right. Because you were just like, oh, that side of the field is not a worry. Like, you can throw over there if you want to. Good luck. Right. Like, it's a luxury to have. And it's crazy how much the defense sucks despite that being the case.
That's where I was going to go.
You have a generational talent.
One, I don't think I've ever seen a good team in which maybe the Jacksonville Jaguars with Blake Bortles are the only team I can think of where you go, oh, the first person that everyone wants to talk to is their cornerback.
Yeah,
I think that's usually not a recipe for success. Jalen Ramsey. Remember when you had him and Bouye?
Yeah,
they should have beaten the Patriots, but
that Jags team was filthy.
Bortled it up. Yeah. And I also want to caution in the spirit of, to be clear, we are from Colorado. We are a Denver-based podcast. We like when
we are
people
Dolphins
do good.
fans.
Shut up. We like when hometown teams do good. We are not so married to these takes. We are not so that I will not be happy if the Broncos win week 1. I'll be thrilled.
I'll be pissed
But
a little bit.
No, not week 1. Last year when they were going on their win streak,
if Bo Nix is good, I'll have a little egg on my face and I will be a little pissed.
No, I'll just be so happy. It'll be fine.
Who are we playing week 1?
I think someone better
than
us,
get IT on that.
Yeah. But I do think that it's important for people to win the training camp, which is the next time we'll be seeing these guys, is remember this is not like back in the day where people were trying to talk themselves into the Trevor Siemian or Drew Lock because they were like, oh, good Lord. Okay. I'll finish this and then we should talk about the information we just saw. But speaking of Seattle, who's our week 1 opponent? Dan, the man, just informed us.
At Seattle.
Yeah. It's like when we were talking about Paxton Lynch or Trevor Siemian, everyone was like, well, hey, this defense is so dominant, it's tough to look good out there, right? Like, and it was reasonable. You had Chris Harris on the backside, but you still had Vaughn. You still had, a lot of really high-level players. Justin Simmons. Like, you had guys out there, right? That is not the case here. Like, they're pushing Alex Singleton as like, oh, he's the shot caller now. I'm like, great. Milkcheck is our guy. This is going to be awful. Like, we don't have a lot of talent on that defensive side of the ball. And I think people are going to be surprised with how little the playbook changes this year, because I think some of what Sean Payton was doing, he's always loved runs. He's always loved short pass game. But you can't get up and down with this defense. You will get smoked. They're going to stop nobody. You have to do a little ball control with this.
It's
so
like
when you see Bo Nix have a good day, don't poop your pants because they told him, they were like, we've gotten rid of all the talent besides Surtain. They're going to put Surtain in a red jersey.
Russell Wilson,
like, don't throw that way.
Russell Wilson looked good sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, it's like we've all
not
had,
all the time.
It's
because
like
Justin Simmons was back there.
Well, it's like we've all had collective amnesia, though.
Yep.
Like, this team was not good last year.
No.
And they didn't do anything to improve it.
And
we're expecting results better than what it was last. Like, what? I literally don't understand what I'm missing. I listened to probably 3.5 hours of podcast today, Kyle.
Yeah.
And nobody said anything that was like, they're also going to suck. Like,
also,
they were giving fair takes about, Bo Nix did this in practice and this, but they're comparing Bo Nix to Jarrett Stidham and Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
So,
and he's out there against,
and they're not,
good talent,
and they're not
right?
just like, they're not like, oh, he looked amazing. They're like, yeah, he looked okay. I think it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Nobody's losing their mind, which says everything. This is going to be maybe worse than last year. Yeah. It's going to be more painful for a lot of Broncos fans unless you come to a realization that this team is going to suck really quickly.
Yeah. We should just go over the fact to reiterate it, and then we can move on to our favorite rookies. Or actually, I wanted to ask you the Sean Payton media blitz that's continued. I did want to get your take on that after this, but it is malpractice to start Bo Nix on the road in Seattle. That is one of the toughest places to play. Opening week, and you've got a veteran coach with defensive talent who's just had all offseason to cook and show you just weird stuff that Bo Nix has never seen. I don't care if you gave him 5 days worth of stuff and he kind of remembered half of it and you were amazed. Like, I don't care about that. You are going to be peeing down your leg in that stadium. That's malpractice to start him on the road.
I couldn't agree more. I don't understand why any rookie quarterback starts week 1 anymore. There's literally nothing good to learn from that.
The only franchise that's had a good quarterback for the past 20 years always drafts one about 3 years early and lets them sit, while everyone in the league is like, is this guy going to have a stroke from all the stress of sitting there and learning from one of the best to ever do it? And we all can't figure it out that this is a good way to do things.
And if Stidham is as good of a guy as it's reported that he is, like, let him sit behind him. It's not like he's going to blow him away with talent, but at least he's competent.
Listen, they didn't send the president or the grand ruler of Russia into the nuclear power plant in Chernobyl. All right? It was some guy making $50 an hour, and that's Jarrett Stidham. Okay?
Yeah.
That's, hey, man, we're not quite sure what's going on with the reactor. Can you go check it out? Why doesn't Bo check it out? No. Invaluable in this.
Bo doesn't have clearance to go all the way down to the reactor.
What if he could?
Well, he would love to. Yeah. His card doesn't have access yet.
Not yet.
That last door is really tricky. Yeah. Go on ahead, though.
Yeah. Why is it green in here? No reason, dude. Just keep walking.
Keep waiting.
Yeah. Okay, Sean Payton, final topic. I think he's been probably, outside of Bo Nix, the most dominant. And for people wanting more Bo Nix talks, I think he'll come up in our rookie, in relation to that. So we'll get, not in our rankings, to be clear. He's not in my top 5 of rookies I've been most excited about. But Sean Payton, there was an article written, and I like Troy Rank. I don't have anything against him. I think he's totally fine. Good old Troy and me. We're fast pals. But there was an article that was like, it's noticeable. Sean Payton is so much more likable, so much more charismatic than last year. And I'm like, yeah, because last year he had to come to you after he'd messed up game management and pooped another game down his leg. When we get beat by the Seahawks by 20, I bet a lot of that charisma is gone when you have to ask him questions about, was that the way the play was drawn up when Stidham tripped over his shoelaces and then threw it Brian Greasy style over his head, no look, into the waiting arms of the Seattle players? Was that how that was meant to go? I don't think he's going to have a charismatic answer, right? He was being super charismatic before the season last year.
Oh, he was being charismatic. He was talking. He was in
We're
USA
coming for the
Today.
playoffs. I'm not a part of it.
He was in USA Today saying, I don't know who drew up this offense, but we're not going to be doing anything close to that. Like, this guy
only had one draw.
We
have at least 30 draws in my playbook.
He's actually the worst. It's not shocking that Condoleezza Rice would hire this sort of person. Only a war criminal could torture us like this. Truly, it's something that I am not sure anybody will ever fathom the fact that we gave this guy whatever it is, $35 million to coach the team for the next 10 years. The fact that they could hand the keys to this guy, I mean,
no, you're 100% right. And it's to your point about amnesia for these Broncos fans. Don't remember him seeming super smart and a savior last year at this time? This is the same stuff.
People were talking about the fucking Super Bowl, Kyle. We were having a Super Bowl conversation. You said that they were going to go 12-4.
I'm pretty sure I said 11-6 with the 7-game schedule, but it's regrettable regardless. I really got hyped up. We don't have a bottom 10 strength of schedule. It's tough for me to find anything to be super positive about here. Yeah,
but
the
where
Sean
are they
Payton,
coming from, though, Kyle? Where are these people coming? Like, what are they watching? What are they consuming that is giving, outside of just Sean Payton, literally spewing bullshit?
So
I just don't understand where it's coming from.
Here, it's what I said earlier. This is 100% my theory. I think Broncos fans are Lakers fans. And so they've not known incompetence.
That is so frustrating.
And they just are used to like, oh, hey, we were having a tough time there for a while being incompetent. We got Peyton Manning, right? That's the Lakers. We were doing a bunch of stupid stuff. Everyone requested a trade here, actually. Like, you don't have to be. And we used to be that
make me be a
level
Dolphins fan again.
Of fan. And so those people, they haven't experienced being this franchise. Like, when we were growing up, it was the Browns. We're the Browns. Like, we're the Browns from when we were kids.
Well, the Browns are still the Browns, but
they made the playoffs. I'd have rather been them than us, I'll tell you that.
They have Deshaun Watson. Nobody would rather be... Yeah, that's not true. Yeah. He's going to be... Also, they're going to be an in-season Hard Knocks. Could you imagine being the Browns PR person being like, are you shitting me? They resigned the day that was announced. Like, nope, I can't do this. I mean, I watched him be in press conferences, but you could only ask me to do so much here.
Going to the whole AFC North for the in-season. I beg of you. Only show Deshaun Watson on massage tables. The funniest thing you can do is just, meanwhile, while Lamar prepares for battle, let's see how Deshaun gets ready. Oh, Lord.
He's fully in jeans.
Yeah,
just on a massage table.
We actually instituted the Silence of the Lambs procedure now when Deshaun's getting treatment.
We're not making fun of any of the women who were assaulted by Deshaun. We're merely making fun of the fact that he's definitely a predator and he shouldn't be in the league.
His job.
Yeah. We're not on your side, Deshaun. Yeah. We're not having fun with you. We're having fun at you.
Yeah.
And you're a real piece of shit.
Correct. He goes in the not sports hate, just genuine.
Yeah.
He's in there in my Hall of Fame with Dwight Howard. It's like, oh no, I genuinely don't like you.
Yeah.
Like you're not fun to watch, and you're a really bad person. Yeah. So let's transition to something happier here. We wanted to go through our rookie rankings in honor of the Bo Nix hype. As you pointed out, Ryan, this is not in honor of Bo Nix. We have not raised our hype level at all. But we did want to go through the happy memories. In some cases of mine, they're not happy memories, but I just can't deny that I was so unbelievably excited. And the other thing that I do want to say to Broncos fans is this is part of being a fan. Like, part of being a fan is the journey of like, oh, Murray and Jokic aren't the best tandem in the league yet, but holy shit, did they just mess up the Celtics? Or, like you see these spurts, and then you see games where Jokic would shoot the ball 3 times, and you'd be like, for fucking Christ.
Yeah,
right?
I lost a lot of money in those 2 years.
You know what I mean? Like
just
you
not
just
shoot the ball.
That's part of the process. And so don't find something here. Like Ryan said, watch Pat Surtain and be like, oh, okay, Devontae got him on that last year. Now he's locking his ass up.
I was lucky enough to go to
a
game even last year when I wasn't a fan yet because of he who shall not be named. And I wore my Pat Surtain jersey and I watched Pat Surtain. Dan was there. I had a great time. Yeah. It was wonderful.
I'm rooting for Troy Franklin. I want to be excited about Troy Franklin, the Oregon wide receiver coming in. I want to be excited about Bo Nix.
Why do you want to be excited about him, Kyle?
Because he's fast as hell. And, it's easy to get sucked into people who are really fast and have quick feet. Their highlight tapes just look cooler. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Where did he go to school?
Oregon, yeah. He was there with Bo.
With Bo.
Homies. Yeah.
They were homies?
Yep. Cool. But cool. I was excited. I want to be excited about players. And I think that it's important to, on this podcast, we're going to be honest with you. We're not going to blow smoke up your ass and tell you every Bo Nix is the second coming of Jesus Christ, right? But I am actively looking for things to enjoy along this journey rather than just be here and be like, we're not going to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, I did. So are 31 other teams. You can still have fun memories. I had a great time when we ruined Josh Dobbs' run there for the Vikings. It led to more victories that I didn't appreciate.
That's such a great way to think about it, too, because I think you really just have to accept that this is going to be like a 6-12 season. and just say, we're happy with that. We're
6-11 would be a win.
Whatever.
Right? They haven't gone to 18 yet.
No,
Goodell's trying to make it year round, but the NBA is trying to cut games. Goodell's like, perfect. We can start in August. All right. Without further ado, how do you want to do it? Do you want me to give you all 5 of mine? Do you want me to start at 5 and count down?
I think I want to react to your 5 because I don't think I have.
There's controversial numbers. There's controversial ones in here.
Give me 5
so I'll
through
give
1.
you my 5.
Give me 5 through 1, and then I'll see if I disagree. Or, well, I'm gonna disagree, but I'll see where I think your mistakes may be.
Okay. There are no mistakes, to be clear here. Don't tweet at us.
With your list, in my opinion, there will be mistakes.
Right, but it's all how people perceived it, right?
Everybody else can keep their opinion to themselves. We're not here to be.
It's totally fine to say, "Oh, I was really excited about this person." Don't be that guy who comes into the conversation and be like, Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
Cool, man. We were just talking about this movie. I don't know how to transition out of that now. Talking to you, dads at the barbecue. But my number 5, controversial. But no, I can't do that. I'm going Nate McKinnon, number 5. I didn't have as much personal connection with the Avs at that time, and
Because they had been so bad.
right. And hockey is probably the sport that I have like some of the least emotional connection with, and that's weird because I remember the Sakic, I remember the Bork thing being a very cool moment, and all 3 of us were together to watch us win the most recent cup, and that was a great time. But like the grind of the season, I make no mistake that, I mean, there's a reason we have Dom on, right? Like he's a sicko for the NHL, like how we're a sicko for NBA. Like we are watching a Wednesday night game and like, yep, this is a great time. So it was very apparent early on that he was unreal, and he goes into the, even if I'm not going to sit here and say I knew Nate McKinnon would one day be the best player in hockey.
You did just say that before, though.
Yeah, earlier, but that's fine. But he was unbelievably fun to watch in flashes because he's so fast.
He's like AI.
There'd be some times where they couldn't hold him or mug him or any of this. If you think what's happening to Caitlin Clark is bad, you should have seen what these guys were trying to do to Nate McKinnon to keep him from embarrassing them with his rookie year.
If you thought that was a flagrant foul on Caitlin Clark, you should come watch Kyle and I play one-on-one. Because some of the things that I do to this man to keep him from scoring a basket are...
flagrant 2s, if that's a flagrant 1.
I mean, that's not a foul. If you're calling that on our one-on-ones, I don't know. I mean, I guess you've gone soft on me.
I probably have. But McKinnon, super fun to watch. Any notes on him being a 5? I think it's totally reasonable if you're a bigger Avs fan for you to be really unbelievably
5
excited.
of our lifetime, though, I'm struggling to really think about it. Like, I haven't really gone back and truly looked at everybody who has been a rookie. And you might be right. I mean, he was exciting, and he's so exciting now that when you look at his career in general, I think it's hard to really argue with that.
Yeah, and to be clear with people, I'm merely talking about their rookie year, right? I'm not saying their career. No one was sitting there like, Jokic, this rookie year, right? Like, obviously, I'm most excited about him right
and
now
I was
as an
trying
athlete,
to think of who the first Nugget is going to be. So I'm excited to see who's next.
I only have one on my list.
Okay, so who's 4?
For me,
oh, is this going to be?
It is. Now, I gave Ryan a warning about this one because I knew he had a moment because we argued about him throughout. Ryan was really into Bill Belichick's Hobbit friend, McDaniel here. And when he ran this man out of town, Ryan loved it and said, yes, this is exactly the right move. Why would we ever want people with talent on our team? Ryan didn't say any of that. But I am going with Jay Cutler. He was a high draft pick.
He had diabetes. He had undiagnosed diabetes during his rookie year.
That makes him more relatable for me, not less. I actually like him more. Like, that's not a negative in my book, Ryan.
I mean, his stats are pretty unbelievable.
Well, and he just had those moments where, and it went both ways, which is kind of a fun rookie place to be in. There would be sometimes Jay Cutler would escape like 3 things, get his feet set, look right at it, bullet that bitch. And, this camera's panning. And I was like, that's a touchdown. Go ahead then. And just put it in the middle linebacker's chest. And I'd be like, what? You looked so confident. Like, normally rookie picks like that, they're like running and kind of flailing,
off
throwing.
Balance.
He set his feet, looked at that middle linebacker, and said, my arm is strong enough to throw through you.
Get out the way.
Yeah. He's like, you can have this pick, but you're going to be out for the game with broken ribs. So we'll see who wins this one. And then some of the times, obviously, some of the passes he made, there was this feeling of like, hey, if we can get him to stop throwing it to the middle linebacker. And when you're a rookie, it's kind of okay that some of those moments happen because you're like, oh, of course, every rookie throws picks and misreads and does whatever. This arm talent is unbelievable. And so I was really excited for him. And obviously he overtook Jake the Snake here. But it was a fun and electric run that my guy had there. That was unfortunately the first victim of Bill Belichick's real genius, which was having inbred nitwits for assistant coaches and then getting them hired by the rest of the AFC.
I have a hard time with this one, if I'm being honest.
You didn't like Jay? Like his rookie year? Weren't you excited about that?
No.
Dandy, he has some swag to him too.
No, I don't think I was excited. I really like Jake Plummer too, so
I do like the Snake.
Yeah,
you're not wrong there.
I remember being a little upset that
I don't hate loyalty to Jake the Snake there.
And I hated how fat Jay Cutler's face was.
Yeah,
I mean that guy. Nobody has ever looked. It was like when Bryson was fat. He just won the PGA championship. Yeah. So, but when Bryson was really putting on weight, you just wanted to punch him. Like he looked exactly like your washed up high school quarterback.
I think this is you as a runner talking right now, because you have always been insanely in shape and skinny, but the rest of us have not been that way. And sometimes when we see someone, maybe a little husky, a.k.a. Nikola Jokic, maybe we like that guy. And maybe we like Nikola. It when that guy fucks up all the athletic guys. You have Tom Brady out here being like, if you eat an avocado on Sunday, it's a sin. And then we had Smoking Jay over here. It kind of felt good.
Yeah,
I liked it. Well, some other people I thought about for this one, Jamal Murray. And the other one I thought about for the Nuggets that I'm ashamed to admit, so I kept it off my top 5. But we're in a safe place here, so I can tell you. I was real excited about Emmanuel Mudiay. Yeah, I was excited his rookie year. I got off the train very quickly, but Mudiay was just like he was the classic, like, he's a big guard. Like, he's super athletic.
I remember
we'll
disagreeing
figure out
with
how
you.
to play basketball.
I remember disagreeing with you at the time.
Yeah.
Because I think I was at Emmanuel Mudiay's first game.
Yeah.
And I remember heckling him that game.
That's terrible work. You probably are the reason he wasn't good. I take it back. Emmanuel was great. He was on a road for darkness.
And let me tell you.
Until Ryan once again intervened. First, he supported The Hobbit. Now, he was actually first person pooping on this man's career.
Who's your next person?
All right. Number 3, Todd Helton. We were at the game where he made his first rookie appearance, and it was so perfect. You had him and Walker. Walker was still on the team. It really felt like a passing of the torch, and he knocked in a single in the clutch, which I just recently took Bodie to his first Rockies game, and I can tell you we don't have anyone who knocks people in the clutch. If there's someone on second, go get a beer, because we'll figure out a way to get 2 outs here soon. But Helton, it was so obvious he was unreal good as a hitter. And I couldn't be more happy that he's in the Hall of Fame where he belongs, because this was a guy who was not like, he wasn't built to be a home run, like champion, king, whatever. It's that he was flirting with 400 all the time, because this guy just got pure ass contact all the time. And then obviously we got to have 07 with him, which was a great, except for the Red Sox, would have been the Ray Bork run, right? Like, seeing Todd Helton touch that thing, we'd be living off that still as Rockies fans. We wouldn't be mad right now that we suck. People would be like, remember that time when Todd Helton cried and gave the greatest speech in sports history? And Scott Van Pelt wept with him live on air? That was unbelievable.
9 DUIs.
Oh.
Todd would have been solo cup and wine for decades.
Yes, as he should have been. Other Rockies I thought about. I thought about Tulo. Tulo came out the gates really hot and then had injuries. But I didn't have the same moments with him as a rookie year. It just felt like, oh, yeah, he was really good.
And the team sucked.
Yeah. Arenado, I don't remember rookie year being super pumped about him. It was a little later, like in there. And then Matt Holliday, I remember that once again being a little time to develop there. So those were my kind of Rockies that I thought about young. By the way, I'm officially Tovar. I'm in on my guy. I wasn't even mad that, what's the name?
I think we'll be able to
Dan of our number one prospect that we just brought up. Starts with an A. But he's batting 143 and the majors are too much for him right now.
Bad.
Like
he's really bad.
It's not a rookie year I'll remember.
I think we'll be able to give
But I saw Tovar was
I think we'll be able to give Tovar.
No, I'm going to mispronounce his name. It's been good for rookies. Tovar. When I saw he was 24, I was thrilled.
I think we'll be able to give him to the Cardinals.
Oh my God.
If we pay him like $34-35 million, I think they'll take him off our hands.
Yeah, we can bring Nolan back. It'll be awesome. Yeah.
That guy's not going to be on our roster in 2 years. I guarantee you.
No, I can still enjoy him now though. He's cooking. He's the most enjoyable.
I don't think you can though.
I can. It's the only way. By the way, I take back any negative thing I've said about a Rockies viewing experience, because going with a kid is amazing. Bodie went to his first one. It's outdoor. No one goes. So Bodie could roam the row as he needed. We went down early because 6:40. Just go early, parents. There's a playground there. There's a special kids like menu place where you can just go through, get kid-sized portions. Dinger. Get to meet Dinger. Bodie was a big Dinger guy. Got him a Dinger stuffy. Yeah. Saw him once during warm-ups. Asked about him until the third inning. Was like, hey, where's this Dinger fella? When's he going to come back? Right? Enjoys a Dinger more than a Rocky.
Yeah.
Which is surprising to me. I'll be interested to see his first CU game with Chip. The mascot, because I think Buffalo is another fun one, and Chip with his face just looks fun, looks friendly as a Buffalo, not trying to look scary.
But I think an outdoor experience with the mascot is much better than an indoor experience.
Also, good Lord, do the Pirates and them suck. A aside here for Parent Corner real quick. Shout out Bill Simmons. So the rules are it's third inning through middle of the fourth, right? So my mom, who works there this summer, some games, she had got us tickets. She said, hey, here are the kid-friendly things to do. She correctly told us third inning. We're getting there. The guy's like, oh, just so you know, Dinger. He said, fourth inning. He's over there. I was like, oh. I was like, that's what my mom told us. Like, third inning? He's like, yeah, fourth inning. Emphasizes it again. Okay. So we say, perfect. We were going to go like middle of the second to get in line because my mom had warned us that the line gets long, right? And but we're like, oh, after the second, we'll go. The Pirates and Rockies were just hitting into double plays out here while we're getting stressed in line because also the Rockies people are coming up because they know that the parent is going to be furious who doesn't get a picture with Dinger, who just stood in this line. And they're like, 2 more outs. 2 more. You're like, yeah, I'm watching on the TV. I couldn't be more stressed. I've never rooted for more full counts and everything.
Because
Bodie's
got to go.
Correct. They pull him hard. They got one family.
Probably, you know.
Right. What's he doing?
I don't know.
Like, yeah, that was weird too. But whatever. The family. There's 2 families in front of us. They're gonna let us go. The guy's like, oh yeah, you're good. Then 2 families up, they start asking for all sorts of stuff from Dinger. I'm like, bro,
this is a
40-year-old drunk man in a suit. We do not need his autograph. What are we doing?
I was just listening to Larry David talk about if you have like a dinner reservation and somebody's sitting in your table and you know they're sitting in your table, do you go and say something to them like, hey, you're not ordering anything, like, let's wrap this up, like it's my turn to eat. And he was like, well, I can't do that, but Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry could do that. But Curb Your Enthusiasm, Kyle could have gone up to that family and been like, hey, all right, the dinosaurs had enough.
It was wild.
You don't need this many pictures. How many pictures do you need?
In the formal spot, but Dinger was coming through the line. He did a good job. And we ended up getting a great picture, so Mom was thrilled. We were great. But shout out Rockies Games with Kids. But those were my Rockies nominees. I don't have any other ones. As far as that,
I forgot we were doing this list.
Yeah. Number 2, we have a little personal connection here, so it bumps it for me. I know I said I'm not a diehard Avs fan, but to me, this guy's rookie year includes the playoffs. Cale Makar, number 2, came in and was awesome right away in the playoffs. So it's like normally with rookies, there's like this progression of where like Nate McKinnon is awesome, but what does he look like in a playoff series? Then he makes a playoff series. Then, you run up against a veteran team and you're like, okay, he didn't quite have it, but did he show me enough that he's going to figure it out or not, right? Cale, it was like, hey, we're in the playoffs. And he was like, yeah, that's no problem. I'll just fuck everyone up. And it was like, oh, I think he's pretty good. And I'll never forget the quote. I was like, dude, this Cale guy. And you go, you were working at DU at the time, and you said, Kyle, DU has multiple players who are going to get drafted in the NHL, and we looked like kids out there. Yeah. You said he single-handedly beat us. It was Frozen 4 or a championship game?
Well, Frozen 4. Yeah. Kept me from probably getting a ring, honestly, because whoever won that game was probably going to win the national title, and I will say there was what I thought was a questionable call. Granted, I knew basically nothing at the time, but I remember being at my desk streaming the game, and there was a penalty that they called on DU's guy. He checked him in the middle of the ice, and his head may have been down, but, keep your head on a swivel, so I don't understand.
Did that affect Cale? Because I felt like
they
still
scored.
Liked him.
They scored on the power play.
No, I mean, did that affect your like of Cale?
No. Well, yes.
Yeah.
They scored on that power play, and then they eliminated DU. And I was very upset.
Yeah.
And I remember them, being all the Colorado media being like, oh, this guy's going to be great for the Avs. And I was kind of like, you know what? Fuck this guy.
Yeah.
I don't
Not good for me right now.
Yeah. You know what? Like, I don't care how good this guy is. I don't think I'm going to like this guy. And let me tell you, I love Cale Makar. The guy is, he's, first of all,
listen,
he's completely not, like, you could really hate a lot of people. I don't think you could hate Cale Makar.
Nah.
Like, he's just a guy. He's just a dude.
Yeah.
So I don't think that anybody can hate that guy.
I was going to say, by the time you had told me about it, you seemed to be like, he was awesome.
Well, I think there were,
you know what I mean?
There were a couple playoff games where I was like, I mean, the whole scouting report around that Frozen 4 game was like, this defenseman is gnarly.
Yeah.
If we score a goal, it'll be great.
Yeah.
Because of that one guy. So
yeah.
I think it's a fair ranking, even though I am a little bitter. And he did end up winning that national title.
I wasn't as invested in the DU hockey team, so it didn't hurt me as much.
I would like an apology, if I'm being honest, and I think I deserve one.
We'll have him on,
and
we'll see.
Yeah.
Tweet at him, Dan. At
Cale doesn't have
Makar.
a Twitter. That's why I love him.
Yeah. My number 1 is Carmelo Anthony.
I thought it was going to be Linus.
Didn't have didn't have, obviously, the career with the Nuggets that I wanted, and all of the feelings that people have towards his departure and subsequent lying about it repeatedly on podcasts is all very fair. All I know is
Lance Armstrong stretching him.
He put his nuts on LeBron's head multiple times in clutch situations, and it was awesome. I'll never forget.
That first year was awesome. He beat him twice, didn't he?
He was like 8-1 versus him in the beginning of their careers in Denver.
I remember
like it was
messing
wild.
him up that first time too.
He hit LeBron with a dirty-ass crossover into the fastest
When
spin
you're
move
talking about just a rookie year, I can appreciate Carmelo.
and hit it in the clutch over LeBron's face, and I was like, we have a guy. And obviously,
those powder blues.
It's biased. I'm biased because the Nuggets are my favorite team. So it was probably going to be a Nuggets player number one.
I actually don't think that this is that controversial.
And number two is that the drought that had happened where we never had a guy that you were like, this guy could be the best scorer in the league. I don't think he ever became that. I know there's a lot of revisionist history about his New York years. Kevin Durant was much better than him.
Yeah.
But
who cares?
it was reasonable his rookie year to say we could win a title with this guy if he, progresses all this stuff. Like the flashes he'd shown, we made the playoffs.
We should have won a title.
We should have won in 09, but it's fine. It's okay.
2-2 with Kobe.
Yeah. And every referee, but that's fine. But so I just had an unbelievable time watching him. I felt like there were moments where he was infuriating, but there were moments where it was just like, holy hell, he just dropped all of these points.
Nobody was mad at him when he was a rookie.
No.
Nobody was mad at his 30% usage rate when he was a rookie because we sucked, and it was
no one was mad at him until he forced his way out and then has spent all the years post-retirement being like, oh, they actually told me they were going to rebuild. That's why we took only veterans back for you? Yeah. You idiot. Like, no. Like, come on.
Yeah, he's got some self-discovery to do on that front.
Yeah.
But I don't think that this is even that controversial. No. Now that I'm thinking about it.
I wasn't here for John Elway.
That I think was the one that I was going to bring up. John Elway is the one that I was like, maybe he belongs in that McKinnon spot, but like...
I just wasn't alive for his rookie year.
He also forced his way here, and then he wasn't that good for a while.
Right.
Like, his whole career arc was like...
The way people describe his athleticism, it kind of sounds Mahomesy. Yeah. Where you're like, how did he do that shiz?
But it
sounds like he also had a roster similar to what we currently have. Yeah. And so whenever you scored, it was kind of like, how did he do that? That guy has a cigarette in his mouth as he's running the route.
Are you saying Bo Nix is John Elway?
I am not saying that because he didn't make my list.
You did say that, I think.
I just said the talent around John Elway was similar to the talent that's going to be around Bo Nix.
I don't know, Dan. We'll have to check the tape.
We're going to get similar results.
We'll have to check the tape.
That's my final opinion. I think the similarities between them are that there was a dearth of talent around them on the offensive side. But that's my list. I thought about Jamal Murray, but I don't remember. And it's knowing Jamal Murray's game now, it makes total sense. But Jamal Murray is just like a really crafty, like shifty. And yes, he absolutely had like dunks at Kentucky. He had moments, but it wasn't like we were getting some high flying, just like, holy hell. And I hated Kentucky. Those were the prime Cal hate Kentucky years. So it was hard for me to be as excited.
Towns.
And he missed his first like 37 shots in the league. Yeah. I forget exactly what the number was, but it was bad. So rookie year wise, I wouldn't put him up there.
What are we? 8 years in, we're still dealing with the streakiness. So
yeah, it happens to the best of us, baby. So that's my list. Any other people that you'd like to honorable mention or people that stuck out to you, that as like, oh, that was fun. I thought about Jared Jeudy, honestly, because we were so hyped about Jared Jeudy.
Yeah.
Watching him run around cones was
still
those fight
to this day. I mean, you can
Yeah.
pull up a Jerry Jeudy hype video. He was running routes in Highlands Ranch. I remember that during probably about this time. He's running routes in the cul-de-sac. I'm like, oh my God.
Hoodie Mello at Lifetime and Jared Jeudy orange cones are the same person. You're like, it's not the sport they get paid to play, but man, you look good doing this part of it.
Yeah. It's crazy because we've never really had that high of draft picks. Like Melo is really the only true blue blood draft pick where you were like, we cannot mess this up.
And
outside of Baby Bo Nix, which is hard to think about.
It's also really hard to think about football to have a fun rookie year. Because
no, it's not.
Wide receiver,
I'm
just saying Von Miller. Yeah, no, a quarterback. But I'm saying like Von Miller, even his rookie year, it doesn't stand out in my top 5.
I remember being excited about the draft pick, but it was just like, that'll be fun in 2 years.
You have to get strong in the trenches. You have to do all that. So for people with the Von Miller thing, that's kind of why it was for me. There was no more fun season than the Super Bowl year with Von Miller because he literally just ruined every team's game plan. And
we made a lot of money off of it.
Anonymously said that he was trying to put his nuts on Tom Brady's forehead every time he sacked him, which was awesome. So I guess that's our message: is find joy in your sports. Don't search for the sadness. We can make criticisms.
Be Dolphins fans.
That's not anywhere what we said.
We didn't find joy. I didn't know. Where are you finding joy in this team?
We'll go over it next week. But there was my first time where I thought, okay, Mike McDaniel, calm your ass down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll talk to you about it next week. Wow. We'll get in there. But thank you for listening. This has been the Blues for Brothers podcast. We are a local Denver podcast. Congrats to the Celtics for winning the title. We'll be back next year.
Not congrats.
And
negative.
We'll talk
congrats.
to you next week.
I hate all the Celtics. Ask Kristaps about Putin. Bye.
Blues for Brothers is a Crab Shell Media podcast.